call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner, Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner, Precinct 2.
I'm here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner, Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner, Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by our own David Barrett from the Sheriff's Department. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Shall we pray? Almighty God, your loving hand is with us even when unnoticed. Your grace and mercy are with us daily even when unappreciated. Your guidance and help are extended even when rejected. Your provision is available even when not sought for. But we do ask this day that you would open our eyes to see your hand, open our hearts to thankfully receive your mercy and grace, open our minds to accept your guidance, and open our understanding to seek your provision. For without these things we are helpless and hopeless, but with you and all you give, we can accomplish even more than we imagine possible. And for this we thank you. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, David.
David.
Give that to
David.
Kathy.
There you go. Thank you.
Mr. Manius, agenda announcements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have 4 announcements as it relates to the agenda. The first one is on the Administrator's section. This would be 8A4. This concerns the contract between Tarrant County and Dispute Resolution Services. That contract is in your red folder this morning. Second item is also under the Administrator's section. This is item 8A13. This is a consent item. It relates to the Samaritan House contract. That is just simply a revised court communication as it relates to that particular item. Also, members of the Court, under Public Health, which is item 8I9. These are the 6 contracts dealing with the Ryan White program. We're going to ask that we hold this for 1 week. We need to add some requirements that the state has recently requested that we add to those contracts. And then finally, members of the Court, under purchasing, item 8J16, this is also a consent item. We're going to ask that we hold that particular item for 1 week also. And members of the Court, while this is not a correction to the agenda or anything, we are going to ask that at this time that we take one item out of order and we go to the briefing section. This is the 2012 Tarrant County United Way update. I believe Mr. McKinney is here to address the Court at this time.
As Tim's coming up, I'll say that we had a breakfast this morning with many of our departments represented and kind of kicking off the campaign, and I appreciate very much you being here. I talked with the mayor a little bit last night. I have been able to convince her that we're going to look at percentage increase this year versus per capita so that maybe I won't be peddling a cart at the end of this process. But so we've kind of set our deal, and so again, welcome, and we appreciate you coming out today.
Well, thank you, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Tim.
I'm going to keep it very, very short because the judge was kind enough to ask me to come to the meeting this morning and gave everybody an update on how we were proceeding in the United Way and the good work that we're trying to do every day along with our 44 partner agencies. This year's campaign is $21 million. It's a little bit more than we raised last year. Matt Rose, CEO of Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway, is our campaign chair and is already hard at work in making that goal, trying to achieve that goal. And it's not an easy goal to achieve, even though our economy is improving a little. But, I just want to thank you and the county for its support, and I hope you'll do all you can to keep the judge from having to peddle the mayor down Main Street again. He would like it to go the other way this year.
I would. And she can ride a bike again, so, I mean, we could get her back on the bike, and we can see how that works.
But I'm just here to announce what our campaign goal is, and just to thank you for your continued support. You all had a big increase in your campaign last year, and hopefully it'll be a similar increase this year. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And I want to encourage everybody to, as we start this campaign, to talk with the people in your office that are responsible for that. I kind of talked with Commissioner Fickus and Commissioner Wynn, and one of the things that I thought we might do, just as, a friendly little challenge competition, is that, we've all got similar office staffs, about the same size in our office staffs. And so whichever one of us raises the least amount of money would have to buy lunch for everybody else on the court and their offices.
What? And it cannot be out of a paper sack, right?
When did that amendment get out?
Well, if you want to just make it I tell you what, we can just make it among the five of us.
Getting a little cocky up there, isn't he?
I'm not, that means I might have to write a check, but I'm kind of counting on the fact that it won't be me writing that
He's
check.
going to win for sure, because he's from Northeast. Median income there is $175,000. I think we have to do a percentage of increase.
Because I have the smallest staff. So.
Oh, come on. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo.
Well, we can either do it on, but you have a little deal. You have that little barbecue that, and I know you do a fish fry.
But he's got 25 years on his fish fry. I mean, he's got people that are coming in from Oklahoma to have fish fry.
You misstated the fact. It's 26 years.
Suffice it to say, it's on.
Okay, so we'll just, the office staff, whichever raises the least among the five of us, of our office staff, will have to buy lunch.
Just for the court members or the entire office?
Well, whichever one of y'all thinks you're going to lose and you're a little concerned about that, tell me whether you want it to be just the five of us or whether you want it to be the office staff. I mean, if you're not worried about losing, it could be the whole office staff.
Well, if we buy McDonald's, then I don't mind. But if it was like a steakhouse, then that's a big difference.
Well, we'll just make it among the five of us, and then hopefully we can encourage our other staff to participate in this process.
I don't want to have to feed Steve.
We've got that.
Good luck.
And then I would encourage, Mary Louise said she was going to wipe Wilder all over the place. That wasn't going to be an issue, that she could, that there would be no problem with her beating the clerk. And I'm sure that, the district attorney and the tax assessor collect, there won't be any, friendly, y'all can make your own little bets and challenges and see how it goes. But, we just, we'll pick it up this year. And GK, if you would like to be and join us up here, then we could.
Judge, I'm just sitting here very quietly. I don't know. I noticed that.
You can work a little challenge contest with your departments, your department heads, and see how that.
Can you put a surrogate on that bicycle?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. And again, thank everybody who participated and helped this morning. We've kicked off the campaign. We're going to have a great campaign, and we're excited about it. And again, I just want to thank everybody for everything you do in this regard. Tim, thank you. Faye, thank you.
I'm trying to get a head start, Judge. We have a Taste of Asia festival on November 2nd from 11:30 to 2 o'clock on November 2nd at the Arlington Sub-Courthouse. We'll serve the best Asian food made in Tarrant County. That's right.
All right, court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of September the 25th.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We'll now move into our proclamations and resolutions area.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Could I move approval of the consent agenda minus the two items that Mr. Maney has removed?
Sure.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda minus the couple of items that we've got there. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Now for our proclamations and resolutions. Commissioner Brooks, I believe you have one on the agenda.
Every year, we celebrate Binational Health Week. It is a time when the governments of the United States of America and Mexico get together to look at ways to collaborate on raising the health status of our peoples. This resolution has already been presented, but it declares October 1st through the 14th as Binational Health Week in Tarrant County, and I move approval. This is done through the Department of Public Health, through the Don Sankofa's Health Equity Division.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Wynn, you have a proclamation.
We have a proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I've been in office for only about 21 months or so, but in the past 21 months, unfortunately, I have witnessed, heard of, or have seen violence stemming from our families within Tarrant County or within North Texas. I have seen husband shooting their in-laws, their brothers, sisters. I have seen father shooting daughters. I have seen father burning his daughter and his wife in the past 21 months. And most recently, we have all heard about news about a mother gluing her 2-year-old hands into the wall and beat her into coma. Domestic violence is real. It's very, very real in our community. Yet, for whatever reason, culture, language, or maybe just we are too busy. For whatever reason, we don't really pay attention to it, or it just becomes flashing news in front of our eyes, and then life goes on. Present here today, we have members of the Tarrant County Council on Family Violence, Ms. Mary Lee Halfley, the CEO of Safe Haven, Michelle Morgan, Director of One Safe Place, and Kelly Willis of Juvenile Services. They will be here to receive this proclamation and to share with us the importance of every one of us in this room and within Tarrant County working together to reduce and eliminate domestic violence. Judge, would you please read the proclamation into the record?
I'll borrow your proclamation because I don't have a copy of that this morning. Whereas Tarrant County is dedicated to reducing the incidence and effects of family violence by increasing the public's awareness and by collaborating with shelters, transitional living programs, and other essential services to provide safety and security to victims of intimate partner violence. And whereas the Tarrant County Council on Family Violence is comprised of elected officials and their staffs, together with social service agencies, healthcare and nonprofit agencies, to raise awareness about family violence and the resources available to those impacted in domestic situations. And whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy and dignity, security and humanity due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economical control and or abuse, including abuse to children and the elderly. And whereas the problems of domestic violence are not confined to any group or groups of people, but cut across all economic, racial, and societal barriers and are supported by societal differences. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting individuals and the society as a whole, here in this community throughout the United States and the world. And whereas during the month of October, all citizens of Tarrant County are encouraged to remember family violence survivors and their families, to promote the programs and organizations that serve them, and to participate in community efforts to improve the safety and well-being of individuals throughout Tarrant County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2012 to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Tarrant County, and to draw attention to the epidemic of family violence, in witness whereof we've hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 9th day of October 2012.
I'll move for approval, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Mayor Lee, Michelle, and Kelly, would you please join me in the front?
GK, I want you to buy her a better camera.
Thank you, Commissioners, for this proclamation. As Commissioner Wynn has pointed out, this is a serious crime in Tarrant County. It is also creating serious impact on our healthcare system. So it's not just a crime that affects law enforcement and affects us that way, but it is also has a serious impact to our healthcare system. As the resolution rightly points out, this is about power and control. And one way that abusers control their victims is by withholding health care, such as the 17-year-old student that is from your precinct, Commissioner Johnson, who is in our shelter, severely autistic, nonverbal, and her father had withheld medical care from her. And so her problems were compounded because she was not able to get medical care. So it's not just about the injuries that present, but there are a myriad of health care issues that result from domestic violence. And then there is this other thing, and I brought something to show you, because there was a little girl, a little 8-year-old girl in our shelter recently, and she made this little booklet about her stay at Safe Haven, only she called us Safe Heaven. So she spelled it Safe Heaven, and in here I think the reason it was heaven is we evidently gave her a lot of candy because she talks about how many times she had to brush her teeth. But what struck me about this was she talks about how she hopes everybody can come to Safe Haven. That's just not right. It is not right that the safest place and the place where this 8-year-old girl has been the happiest in her life is a shelter for battered women and their children. That is not okay. And we have a responsibility to change that. And you, gentlemen, have a huge responsibility to change that because you're community leaders. Your leadership in your own communities and throughout Tarrant County speaks volumes when you speak out about this issue. When men hold other men accountable for the atrocities that result from domestic violence, things change. And so it's my challenge to you today to help us change the culture of Tarrant County and end domestic violence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lee.
Thank you.
Well, that's really difficult to follow up for sure. She is fabulous in what she does. Not only in speaking to all of you, I'd like to speak to everybody else that's here as well. One Safe Place is a partnership of agencies, as is the Family Violence Council. There are many people here back behind me that represent the Family Violence Council. There are many of us that have been dedicated to trying to change this epidemic. Many people that have been doing this for much longer than I have, and we're committed to doing that. But it doesn't take just one person. We all have to work together. We all have to stand together to help change this devastation. So we do need your help. Mary Lee is 100% correct, but we also need everybody else's help as well. And so we hope that all of you will help spread that message as well. Thank you for having us. Thank you for your continued support. You've supported us for years, and we greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you all again very much. Commissioner Johnson, I believe you have a proclamation on National 4-H Week.
I actually have a couple, Your Honor. The first one is for National 4-H Week, if you would read that into the record.
Thank you. Whereas the Tarrant County Commissioners Court is proud to honor the 4-H Youth Development Program of the Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service for 105 years of providing experience-based education to youth throughout the Lone Star State. And whereas this program seeks to provide a learning experience for the whole child, including head, heart, hands, and health, helps young Texans to acquire knowledge, develop life skills, and form attitudes to enable them to become self-directed, productive, and contributing members of our society. And whereas the Tarrant County 4-H serves over 650 youth through long-term, year-round programming through community clubs and an additional 15,000 who participate in short-term activities and events. And whereas the program undoubtedly could not have achieved the success that it has today were it not for the service of hundreds of adult volunteers who have given generously of their time, talents, energies, and resources. And whereas throughout its proud history, the 4-H program has developed positive role models for countless Texans, and through its innovative and inspiring programs continues to build character and to instill the values that have made our state strong and great. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim October 7th through 13th, 2012 as 4-H Week in Tarrant County. And further, we commend the 4-H Youth Development Program of the Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service and the many men and women who have made the program a success, in witness whereof we've hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 9th day of October 2012.
I move for its approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And Cindy Bright with the Agrilife Extension 4-H program leader is present to receive this, and she may have some guests to bring up with her. I know I had a visitor by a very nice young man this morning. Brought me a gift. I appreciate that.
That would be Luke.
Is it okay if all of the ambassadors get in the
Sure. Come on up here. Everybody come up.
This is what I'm talking about. Here's my buddy that took care of me. It worked the first time. All right. All right. Well, thank y'all for what you do, and thank y'all again. I'm sure that everybody in the court wants to thank you for the gifts that they received this morning, and I'm very proud of all of you. Thank you, sir. And any comment you'd like to make?
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. This morning we have Scott Segovia, who will be representing the ambassadors to speak with you this morning. Thank you. Scott?
Sky, hold on a second till your mom gets here.
Oh, boy. Joy.
You go, now.
She always gets the best pictures. This week, 4-Hers all around Texas are joining together to learn more about entrepreneurship, science and technology, leadership, service, and public speaking, and so much more. 4-H offers much to the development of Tarrant County youth, but we would not be where we are without your support. So today, as ambassadors for the 4-H Youth Development Program, we accept this proclamation and wish to thank you for your continued support and optimism for the future of our youth.
Thank you all for coming today. We appreciate very, very much y'all coming out, and congratulations again on all you're doing. Again, congratulations, Commissioner Johnson. I know this is a program that you really have a passion for and have helped and supported for years and years and years as you served on this Commissioner's Court. And I believe you have another proclamation.
Yes, sir. It's White Cane Day in Tarrant County, so if you'd read that into the record, please.
Whereas the white cane was introduced in the United States in 1930 by a member of the Lions Club International and has, along with the guide dog, become universally known as the identifying symbol of the blind and visually impaired. And whereas the white cane and guide dog are tools that are key to greater mobility and independence for the blind or visually impaired, and whereas for the sighted, the white cane and the dog are reminders to respond with respect and courtesy to individuals using them. And whereas for all of us, they are reminders of our commitment to removing barriers, both physical and perceived, that prevent people who are blind from reaching their full potential. And whereas the blind community has come together to promote awareness of the independence and contributions that individuals who are blind make to the social and economic life of our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim October 9th, 2012, as White Cane Day in Tarrant County, and urge all citizens to join in promoting independent travel and full participation of all of us in every aspect of life. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 9th day of October 2012.
I move for its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And we have Ginger Kraft and Clayton Masner with the Council of the Blind present to receive this. If you'd meet me at the podium.
Wonderful event that we will be having for White Cane Day will be celebrated on October 15th with a walk and a ceremony. And this event just really symbolizes the empowerment that the blind and visually impaired community has had. I guess we need t-shirts that say independence since 1935. But we really do appreciate and humbly accept this proclamation and appreciate your continued support in our public and in our community. For every blind person or visually impaired person who's been to an airport and has been offered a wheelchair and had the courage to say, no, thank you, I can walk on my own. Thank you so much.
Most people don't even realize what is the challenge of the blind is. Back in 1930, Helen Keller challenges the Knights of the Blind. Since that time, we have took that on, plus October is sight and vision awareness. We do a lot of screening for the kids of our district. We go to the schools, make sure they see. Sometimes you'd be surprised that the kids cannot know the difference because they've always seen that way. I have done the mobile vision unit in our district. I go from Grandview up to Sherman, Gainesville, around. Plus, we are starting a thing in our district. We had it before, but it did not go very well. We are collecting glasses. We're going to have a satellite in our district in Watauga. So we are going to help the people around the world in that. So I appreciate y'all very much for this day and everything y'all do for us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for doing that. Now we come to a time of the month that we all enjoy very much. Some at my expense and others just because we enjoy very much getting to recognize our employees who are celebrating anniversaries with the county. By now, most of you know the routine. I will call your name. If you'll please rise and remain standing throughout that particular group of employees, and then we'll recognize all of you at the end. And I'm going to begin with our 5-year employees. And the first 5-year employees is Thomas Atterbury from Constable Precinct 1. James Craigle, Sheriff Confinement. Jennifer Crumley, Sheriff Communications. Lindsay Darnell, Tax Office. Lindsay. Christine Dooling, District Attorney's Office. Gil Flores, Public Health. Robert Floyd, Sheriff Confinement. Kyle Harris, Sheriff North Patrol. Kevin Kolb, Sheriff Confinement. Judy Lowe, Jury Services. Jane Merritt, Public Health. Anna Morella, Public Health. Shannon Nichols, Constable Precinct 7. Linda Pfeiffer, Tax Office. Maya Raya, Sheriff Booking. Okay, how bad did I do on that one? Yeah, I can tell she was laughing when she got up. So, Michelle Schultz, Public Health. Teresa Shelby, County Clerk. Ashley Simpson, Public Health. Lee Sorrells, Sheriff North Patrol. Robert Sparzo, Sheriff Bond Desk. Laura Tanner, District Clerk. Brian Thomas, County Clerk. Rita Wester, County Judge's Office. All right, Rita, where are you? Oh, there she is. You're standing. You got to move over a little bit. I couldn't see you. Edward Williams, Juvenile Services. Linda Winburn, Sheriff Booking. Johnny Womack, Sheriff Confinement. These are our 5-year employees. Let's give them a big hand. Thank y'all. Now for our 10-year employees. Holly Allen, Tax Office. Nancy Domenech, Public Health.
Really good.
Christy Hendricks, Purchasing. Joshua Hornsby, Constable, Precinct 5. Keisha Leatherman, Public Health. Melanie Mendoza, Sheriff, Confinement. Elizabeth Metz, Sheriff, Booking. Daniel Moody, Sheriff, Confinement. Jola Murphy, District Attorney's Office. Esther Rojas, District Attorney's Office. Tanya Weiss, District Clerk's Office. And Raquel Wittes, Sheriff, Confinement. Let's give these 10-year employees a big round. Thank you. Now for our 15-year employees. Brett Alexander, Juvenile Services. Elaine Allen, Public Health. Janet Olms, Tax Office. Terry Bacon, Public Health. Hannah Baker, Information Technology. Gloria Banna, Public Health. Kendra Baylor-White, Sheriff, Confinement. Kimberly Carlisle, Tax Office. Brenda Clark, Domestic Relations Office. Louise Cuppet, Public Health. We're going for a real, this is a busy year for public health. Jeanette Darden, Public Health. Geraldine Drewer, Public Health. Dolores Goodspeed, Public Health. Diane Harden, Public Health.
My goodness.
Deborah Jones, Public Health.
Wow.
Sharon Jones, Public Health. Paula Killip, Domestic Relations Office. Was she with Public Health? Joseph Wynn, Public Health. Teal Wynn, Public Health. And Con Fawn, Public Health. There must have been a program that started in public health. And I guess that would be about what was it? Tell me what it was. That, okay, that's it. I thought, now I was here at that point in time. Well, welcome. We're glad y'all made it over to the good side. Now, I got ahead of myself because we've got two more, Beatrice Rivas from Human Services and Raymond Willoughby from Constable Precinct 8. So these are our 15-year employees. Let's give them all a big hand. Now for our 20-year employees, Mary Lou Almendarez, Human Services. Karen Edmondson, Tax Office. Doug Fabio, Public Health. Howard Johnson, Sheriff Warrants. William Kindred, Sheriff Bond Desk, Mark McDonald, Sheriff Warrants. Stephen Seabolt, Sheriff Warrants. Michael Sharp, Pretrial Services. Michelle Sharp, I'll bet that's supposed to be. Stephen Toner, Sheriff Courts. Carl Voss, Purchasing. And Laura Yanes, Information Technology. These are our 20-year employees. Let's give them a big hand. Now for our 25-year employees. The first one is Maria Balandran with the Auditor's Office. There she is, back in the back. started out as a housing clerk and then moved into as a bookkeeper, and then moved over to the auditor's office after she'd been around for about a year ago, so that would have been 6 years ago now. I have to try to remind myself what are these things I picked up 5 years ago, because we're, for the first time now, going back and I'm getting to talk with a lot of these folks for a second time. When I talk about memorable moments, she said that it was the time when she had worked out at the Resource Connection Center, or Resource Center, after the Katrina hurricane. What she liked most were the benefits, the fact that she had never worked with what she felt like was a greater bunch of folks, that it was really kind of a family-type atmosphere, and that everything had really been a great experience. When I asked her kind of what had occurred over the last 5 years, she said, you know, the auditor's office had really been a great fit for her, that she really, it felt like a real family. She kind of recounted that over the last 5 years, really in 2009, she lost both of her parents within a 6-month period of time, but that the office had really just kind of surrounded her with, warmth and compassion, and had really helped her through that. She said the work continues to grow, but that she's having a great time, that she can remember when she first started with the county that only a few people had computers, and now everybody had computers. Maria, we appreciate very much the 25 years that you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you. Next is Charles Brogdon with the sheriff in the patrol area. There's Charles. Again, and just kind of recounting what we discussed 5 years ago, he had worked in started working in the jail when he was 21 years old, and had worked really for 11 years on all over the floors. Had worked in APHIS, crime scenes when it was first created, and he stayed there for about 8 years, was promoted to sergeant, and then moved into the patrol area. When I asked him about memorable moments, he said, elections are always kind of nervous time frames. And trust me, we all recognize and understand that. He said he remembered when that crime scene area was created, and he appreciated and enjoyed that very much. He said he also had a chance to attend the FBI Academy on Advanced Fingerprint course. When I asked him what he liked most, again, it was the stability, the family atmosphere. When we talked about kind of what had occurred over the last 5 years, he was promoted to lieutenant about 2 years ago. His son's graduated from high school and is now in the Army and at Fort Carson in Colorado. And he said, I've been here for 25 years, and I still just love being a part of Tarrant County. Charles, we're very glad that you've been with us for 25 years, and we appreciate your commitment. Now, the next is Greg Lee, who is in the child support area at 25 years, and he is not here today, but he said to make Melissa stand up in his stead. Obviously, Melissa is his wife, and she works for us in the purchasing area. Greg has, started working in the district clerk's office after he got out of high school. He's now over in the child support area and has been there for the last 2 years, he's been the customer service manager. When I asked him about the more memorable moments, it was the National Adoption Days. He said, I really have enjoyed those. When I asked him what he liked most, it was, again, the family atmosphere, the people he had a chance to work with, job security and the benefits. He said over the years, he said, I've loved the fact that Richard hired him, and that Cleet had been one of his mentors. When I asked him kind of what had happened over the last 5 years, he talked about the fact that I guess the son was in the Army and had been deployed to Qatar would be deployed in November. And I know that's got to be a nervous time. That his daughter is a veterinary assistant, or is in veterinary assistant school at UTA. Youngest son is 14 and is playing baseball for the U.S. team, and I guess last year had an opportunity to go to Japan and play in Japan, and Greg got a chance to go over and watch that, and that was something that apparently he's got at least one more year in being able to try out for that. That's something that you try out for. And then he just talked about the fact that the county really meant a lot to him and to Melissa, and he said, now you be sure and make Melissa stand up, and she won't be real appreciative of that, but make her stand up anyway. You be sure and tell Greg how much we appreciate the time and the service that he's given to Tarrant County. Thank you.
And give him a hard time, Melissa, for not mentioning under memorable moments the day you said yes.
Next is Ruby Seals, the sheriff in the Warrants area.
My cohort's trying to cause family violence.
I understand that. Ruby, back there.
Correcting the record.
Ruby's actually, while we're recognizing her for 25 years, she's one of these who went away for a little bit and is back and has actually spent 27 years with the county. She is in the Warrants area and serves there as the office manager. When I asked her what she liked most, it was, again, the people, the chance of working with the field officers and working with her team of folks. When I asked her what kind of had occurred over the last 5 years, she talked about how quickly, and this is something that I always am just amazed by, is how quickly the 5 years have gone by. She is actually retiring at the end of this month, on October 31st. And is looking forward to it. She said, we're looking forward to enjoying retirement with her husband and having the chance to do a little bit of traveling. Her grandkids are grown. She said, I have a son that's stationed in Norfolk and has been in the Navy for 18 years and is a chief petty officer in the Navy. She said the people that she's had a chance to work with over time have really made her career a great career and a great memory in that. She says, I'm leaving the county with a happy heart. And did you come with bells on today? She said that she just might come here with bells on, and so I thought that she might be a-ringing when she came into the room. Again, Ruby, we thank you very much for the 25 years you've given to Tarrant County. Next is Jerry Wimberly, Sheriff Confinement for 25 years. Started out in the jail, is still in the confinement area. He said, I've worked all over the confinement area over these 25 years. Memorable moments, he said, I worked in the medical area a lot, and one of the things that he said, that there was that at one point in time he had an opportunity that there was a lady who was in the process of getting a divorce, was threatening to kill herself, and that he was able to basically, through just conversations and talking and working through that, was able to get her through that process and out of that. And that was one of his more memorable moments. He said, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to work with the county, the people I've had a chance to work with, the benefits, the insurance, and the retirement. And he said, I've always tried to take pride in what I've done. When I asked him what had kind of occurred over the last 5 years, again, he said, I'm going to retire. He said, I'm going to retire probably, I think it's October 29th, the end of this month. So he said, it's time, and he said, I've just decided that it's time for me to retire. His son is a policeman in Duncanville. Daughter is a senior in college, and he said, once I retire, I plan to do a lot more work with church work with the church that he's affiliated with. And so we appreciate that very much. And Jerry, we appreciate very much the 25 years of service that you gave to Tarrant County. Next is Selma Windham, 30 years with the district clerk's office. Started here, actually moved here from Fort Wayne, Indiana in January of '82, and went to work. When she started with adult probation on April Fool's Day, 1982. Has worked for 3 different district clerks, and moved to the district clerk's area in June of '85. When I asked her what she liked most, she says, there is never a dull moment in working in this area. Great benefits. She said the people that she's had a chance to work with, she's made a lot of great friends over the years. When I asked her kind of what had happened since the last time we talked, she's now the main expunction clerk. Thankful for basically having a job for these last 30 years. Is still having a ball working with all of her friends. She said, it is just, it's exciting and it's interesting. And I said, well, she said, she's still waiting on grandchildren. Still waiting on grandchildren. Been married for 30 years and has just had a great life. And I tell you what, we really appreciate the 30 years you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you, Selma. The last individual is Christy Ragsdale. And Christy was not going to be able to make it to court today. She has been with the county for 35 years. She started off in the personnel area with the CETA program and worked with the CETA program for 1 year before she went over to the DA's office. So as you see Christy, or if you have an opportunity to see Christy or call and talk with her, congratulate her on the 35 years of service that she's given to Tarrant County. Collectively, these employees represent 990 years of service to Tarrant County. We thank you very, very much. We have refreshments in 504C, and we'll pause for just a moment as y'all make your way back there. Now, Wilder, let them get back there first. Don't be the first one back there.
It's a lot of years.
It is a lot of years. It's amazing. I mean, we don't have these folks come and they enjoy what they're doing. Just about every one of them. They really enjoy it. And you can hear it in their voice. You can hear it in their voice. No. Most of them say, I come here, I expect you to do fine.
You know that the three of us comprise
They love it so much that they just
77 years of experience. Oh, you will. Really?
It is. Phillips, I see you got the bells ringing the number of times they're supposed to now. They were a little off yesterday. Mr. Mania, sure.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have 4 additional items for you this morning. The first one, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court review and concur with an exception to the travel policy as it relates to Constable Precinct 1.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, on item number 2, we're requesting that the court review and approve an exception to the travel policy as it relates to the Human Resources Department.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, on item number 3, these are the annual contracts at the Resource Connection. They're listed in your court communication. Just a quick note, Judy is doing a really good job down on the resource, and she tries to squeeze the budget as hard as it can. There is a slight increase this year, but it equates to 10 cents per square foot. So we're requesting approval of the contracts that are listed in your court communication.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Finally, members of the court, on item number 4, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve a contract. It's the annual contract renewal between Tarrant County and Dispute Resolution Services of North Texas.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ray, do you want afterwards? Mr. Rayburn.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Here to request the Commissioners Court approve additional appointments of election judges and alternate election judges for a term ending July 31st, 2014.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Ms. Glenn.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have 4 items for the commissioners this morning. The first item, we're asking the court to receive and file the personnel agenda.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Second item, we're asking the court to approve a letter of agreement with Hay Group, Inc. The project costs for the market analysis will not exceed $50,000. There is money budgeted for the study in HR's FY13 budget.
Move approval.
I'll second so I can ask a question.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Have we had a discussion with them about the scope of this study, especially as it relates to the law enforcement section of our...
Yes, sir, we have. Ms. Worthy has had a couple of conversations with Mr. Glogowski. You guys will remember Paul Glogowski. And so she has brought him current on all of the issues that the court has been discussing. And so he is very aware of what we're expecting in the way of his report.
Should we have him before the court to talk about with each one of us and make sure that we're kind of all on the same page?
I think he ought to at least have a conversation with the Law Enforcement Committee that Commissioner Johnson, I believe, chair.
I think that'd be good, and I think it'd be good to bring him and let him, before they start their work, bring him to the court and let us kind of have a general discussion.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
We will arrange that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion?
May I make one comment, Your Honor, real quickly? This is one of 2 contracts that we'll be entering into with Hay. The second one will be the one where we have an evaluation as far as our benefits and our salaries combined to see where we are market-wise with a combination of those 2.
I think it would be good if we could then to discuss both of those, whether we've approved the second at that point or not, but at least to have a discussion about what we're looking for in the terms of results and information and support for those results.
We just wanted to make you aware that this second one was coming also.
Absolutely.
Any other comments or concerns at this time? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Our third item, we're asking the court to approve an out-of-class pay Extension and Juvenile Services. As explained in your court communique, we have a registered nurse who's assumed the responsibilities of the Health Services Authority Supervisor since May, this past May. According to our policy, departments do have authorization to grant out-of-class pay for a period of 90 days, which would have been from May to August. After 90 days, the department must come to the Commissioner's Court and request an extension of the out-of-class pay, which is what we're doing here today. And Juvenile Services is requesting an extension through November of this year. And the fiscal impact, as outlined in your court communique, is approximately $1,600 from the general fund.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Our fourth and final item, we're asking the court to approve a waiver of terminal benefits as well as a double fill in the medical examiner's office. The medical examiner has one senior criminalist who's going to be separating from county service at the end of November. So the medical examiner is requesting a waiver that will be effective the following day, the 27th. As well as the ability to double fill effective November 5th. And actually, there's going to be a net cost savings, if I can read my writing, of right around $600.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Beecham. I like your A&M Aggie Mom thing there.
This is reciprocal payback so McMillan and Schneider can feel good about themselves. I mean, they just barely beat us by 52 points. I'm not sure what the big deal is.
To make up for the first 2 years.
Was that basketball?
Sir?
Didn't y'all win this week?
They say you can't put lipstick on a pig, but it sure feels like it.
Are you the pig, or are you the? Is that the
I'd be the
lipstick?
pig.
Go right ahead. It's your show right now.
5 items for your consideration this morning. Our first 3 are juvenile services related. First item, RFP 2012-073 for family support services. A recommendation would be to award to the Lena Pope Home in the amount of $100,000.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 2 is a bid award recommendation for RFP 2012-075. This is for the Cannabis Youth Therapy Family Support Network. Recommendation would be to award to Santa Fe Youth Services in the amount of $105,000.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And number 3 item, RFP 2012-148, bid award recommendation for the First Offender Program. A recommendation would be to award to Lena Pope Home, the amount of $80,000. And I failed to ask for contract approval for these 3 items if approved.
Move approval of this item and contract approval on all of the above.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our 4th item is a bid award recommendation for bid 2012-160. This is a bid for the post and panel exterior directional signage at the Miller Avenue complex. Recommendation would be to award to the low bidder advantage signs on a per unit price basis.
Hallelujah. I'm sick of looking at sandwich board signs all over the yard. Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And our last item is an item in regards to RFQ 2012-165. This is for professional geotechnical engineering services and construction material testing, Northeast Courthouse Expansion Project. We're seeking approval to conduct negotiations with Fugro Consultants.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And your teams went down, right?
What?
Your teams
We
both
did not
lost?
have a good weekend around our house between Texas and the Rangers, and I mean it was
What's
My
the other
son
name?
tweeted, at LSU, my son tweeted and said, well, at least we still have the Brahmas.
The Brahmas, yeah.
Yeah, it's a hockey team that plays around every once in a while.
He will feel your pain next week. Thank you.
Are you playing Arkansas next week?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to Kentucky football.
You're waiting for the basketball to come
That's
around.
right. It's pretty depressing. One Kentucky football.
Yes, sir.
Morning, gentlemen.
You want to interrupt our frivolity up here?
It's okay. Texas
Whatever
Tech got
that
beat
word
too,
is.
so. It is requested that the Commissioners Court approve the resolution in order declaring a public necessity for a public project known as Silver Creek Azle Road drainage easement from approximately 450 feet north of Fox Lane. This is we're asking that you approve the preliminary plans, approve the acquisition and payment of the compensation.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Trammell, can I meet with you as soon as we get through? Sure. For just a moment? Thank you.
Commissioner Wynn, I believe you have an interlocal agreement.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. I like to move for approval of the interlocal agreement with the City of Kennedale, item 1A, B, C, and D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve items 8L, 1A through D.
Correct. Thank you.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Fickus.
I have an interlocal agreement with City of Colleyville to purchase asphalt. Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Court members, you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of both.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Mayes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have 3 additional items to bring to the court today. The first one will be a report from the Texas Agrilife Extension Service. It will be their update. Ms. Bryant is here to address the court at this time.
Thank you. I want to express our appreciation for the warm reception that you gave to our youth this morning. You don't have any idea how impactful that is on their lives and the confidence that it gives them. So we thank you so much for your support. The 4-H program, of course, provides opportunities for youth to participate in a large variety of activities, and typically they choose a project that's a specific topic of interest for them. But woven into that topic are opportunities for leadership and community service. One of the things that's kind of unique about the 4-H program is the youth-adult partnership and how we encourage the youth to take ownership of the program and to become leaders within their clubs themselves. And hallmarks of the 4-H club experience, of course, is that community engagement. And one of the things that's great about it is the youth are encouraged to look around and see the needs of their community and devise a plan on how to help and to implement that project. And on the handout that was provided to you, it shows some of the pictures of some of the activities that the kids have planned and a listing of some of them. There's several things that they do for the military personnel, such as the family days and the Operation Appreciation. Down on the Farm, which is a service project that serves families of children who have Down syndrome and autism. They're participating in graffiti abatement programs, a lot of community and school service projects for beautification and litter collection, Days of Wisdom, which are serving residents in the senior citizen centers and assisted living areas, and assisting with large community events. In addition, areas of extreme focus this year is we're going to continue to promote the science and technology projects, and they continue to grow each year. And then the Take a Stand anti-bullying project as well will be a focus for this year, teaching the youth conflict resolution skills, communication skills, cultural awareness, and teamwork. Once again, we want to thank you all for your support of the 4-H program and all of the youth of Tarrant County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Court, a week ago to item C, this is an update on the West Nile virus. Ms. Sawyer Caldwell is here to address the court at this time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have, of course, the good news with the weather isn't that we're more comfortable. It's also that the mosquito activity is much less than what it has been. Our number of cases currently, we did have a new case today, so that makes 268. The breakdown is that 96 of those cases are the neuroinvasive disease and 172 are the West Nile fever. We have had 9 deaths. The death that was reported most recently was one that a family had been telling the media about for a while, but we have to wait until we get absolute confirmation from the attending physician. So we got that yesterday, so we're at 9 deaths. Okay? We have no positive pools to report in the mosquito surveillance program.
And we're still doing those twice a week,
Yes,
30
sir.
each time?
Yes, sir. Well, it depends on the number of tests that are submitted.
Okay.
We actually only had 6 tests submitted last Thursday, so only 6 tests were run. Okay? And just to let you know, we were working with the Emergency Management Office as well to do a survey of our stakeholders. We'll roll that into our after-action report. And I haven't checked. I didn't get a chance to check yesterday, but we had at least 36 responses for our survey so far. We'll close that today and get the final numbers, and we'll roll those responses into our after-action report, which we've already held internally at Public Health, but we want to get as much information as we can before we do our final report.
Thank you. Any questions? Or, all right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Members Court, a week ago to item D, this is an update on the 2006 capital improvement program and also the transportation bond program. We're going to actually give you 2 different presentations on this. We're going to start with the transportation bond program. Randy, are you going to make that presentation?
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning,
Commissioners.
Morning.
We'll provide you with an update on the 2006 Transportation Bond Program. It's been a successful year, at least in my estimation. As I go through the material before you, just keep in mind that this is a snapshot of the program as it stands at this particular time. Obviously, the scene changes sometimes week to week. Sorry, I don't have a way to advance the slides. So.
Is the keyboard not up?
No.
Well, he just advanced it.
I thought he just did.
Let's see if we can make this work here. Currently, we have 22 projects that are under agreement. You can see the county bond fund investment. We have 5 agreements with TxDOT that are currently ongoing. 11 projects are under agreement that are using commissioner discretionary funds, and this number is a little higher than we've seen in the past, so obviously there's some increased activity in that particular area of our program, which is good to see. And then we have 24 projects that are completed with an investment of over $33 million. And I would just point out I'm sorry.
What was the leverage on that 33.7 million?
I don't have that number for you right now, but it's interesting you had asked that. I was just going to point out, if you look at this particular slide, there is quite a bit of leveraging that's occurring, and that's exactly what the Commissioners Court, one of the goals of the program. So we're very glad to see that happening. But I can certainly get that number for you. I'll always show you this slide each year. It just simply shows the way our funds are programmed. And again, this is based on the schedules from the cities, and so it will change sometimes regularly, but at this particular point, that's what the programming looks like.
Now, was that the allocation, or in the years that have already passed, is that the actual years that have passed?
That just simply shows the allocation throughout the years based on the project schedule. So it also includes commissioner discretionary funds as well.
Okay, so are you fixing to show us a slide that shows exactly how that's worked? I mean, did we actually spend that much money in 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so far in 12?
The expenditures may be a little different in those years, but that's just simply how the funds were programmed for those years. So the expenditures may have come out a little differently.
I guess I'm asking the same question. Is this the plan that was put together when the bond issue passed?
This slide will look considerably different than it did from the very beginning, simply because the schedules will change throughout from year to year.
In the future, why don't we show actual
Okay.
and then projected? Because, I mean, this is great as how it worked, but how much of, how much did we spend and when are we forecasting to spend?
We can easily include that with this slide. So. For the projects that are complete, most of these will look familiar to you, but I'll just simply point out some of the changes from last year. I don't believe there are any on this slide. I believe you've seen those as well from last year. This particular list is getting a little too long for us to go through individually, but FM 156 realignment, that project, although it's been open to the public, we recently received news from TxDOT that is complete. And that was a project that we originally had $5.1 million invested in, and that came in under. So our expenditure is actually $3.4 million. Longhorn Road widening, I just found out just a couple of weeks ago that the city has signed off on that project. And so it is complete, and that is another project where we've seen almost $1 million in savings. I don't believe there are any changes to this particular slide, but again, you can see our investment of over $33 million for completed projects. I added this slide this year just so that you'll be aware of projects that are withdrawn. The most recent project is Melbourne. I don't believe that is a priority with the city at this time, but I do want to keep you aware of the projects if there are any that are being withdrawn. I mentioned to you that there are 22 projects that are under agreement right now. You'll notice that this list actually has 27 projects. That's because there are 5 that we have under agreement with TxDOT, and that's just included in this list. Matlock Road, Widening, and Matlock at Mayfield, those are just about complete. The green dots are just indicating those projects that are under construction right now. Ash Lane is just well over halfway. Let's see, FM 1187, had a chance to drive through there recently, and that is a very nice facility that's coming close to completion as well. The 2 projects in Grand Prairie are well underway. The roof snow widening we're just within a few weeks of that being completed in Keller. And in a little entertainment. The 2 projects in Kennedale should be completed in the next few weeks, as well as Calendar Road and North Tarrant Parkway is a big project that we're looking forward to completion by the end of the calendar year. So you see there's a lot of activity that's going on currently. I mentioned to you the discretionary projects. These are the ones that are under agreement. A lot of them are also under construction, as you might expect. You can see what that investment is currently. Each year I want to make you aware of projects that we're seeing changes in with regard to their schedules. As I mentioned to you before, it ties back to that other slide. As the schedules change, we reapportion our program. And in this particular case, you see that there are 26 projects that are delayed. However, only 7 of them have delayed for more than a year. This is actually a lower amount than I was last year. Unfortunately, I had to share with you the much higher numbers in this particular area. But so we're improving. We're seeing a little bit more stability there. But at the same time, I do want to make you aware of what those projects are that have delayed for more than 1 year. You'll notice that the first 3 are in Arlington. These are intersection improvements that require coordination with TxDOT, so there's a little bit of a delay there. Roof snow widening and also is a coordination with TxDOT. So, however, they have had the public hearing on that, so well underway. In fact, the cities, we've had an opportunity to meet with the cities regarding all these projects, and none of them have expressed any interest in withdrawing other than the slide that I showed you. They're committed to them, and they're moving forward in some capacity. Well, what do we have to look forward to in 2013? You can see this list of several projects in Arlington. The US 377 project and 3 intersection improvements in Colleyville are scheduled to go to construction next year. I would point out on the Fort Worth list, the East Rosedale US 287 to Miller. This is a project that the court agreed to have all of our funding applied to the phase 1 so that we can get that project to construction. And we're just working out the interlocal agreements right now with the city. Phase 2 of Pipeline Road, we expect to move forward. You can see those 4 projects in Mansfield, a lot of activity in that particular area this next year. I think I received some news that the Grapevine Highway at Harwood intersection improvement may be delayed somewhat, but Bailey Boswell and Whitechapel are scheduled to go to construction. In fact, Bailey Boswell, I believe, they are opening bids either this week or next week on that, so we're really getting close. And I would just point out, if you look at the list of projects that are complete, along with the 4 withdrawals, plus the projects that are under agreement right now, plus the projects that are in this list that you see going to moving forward into 2013, this represents almost 90% of the projects in our program. They're either under agreement, they're either moving forward in design, or they're under construction. So we're really seeing some good activity with regard to our program. I always want to show you photographs. You can see with the Root Snow project in Keller on the left, it's kind of a rural section road. And I apologize, Commissioner, I know this is a lot further along than this, but you can see that this will be a nice curb and gutter. Well, yeah, that will be open soon. So.
County maintenance here.
All right.
That's contractor mess up.
Well, I'll take you to Little School Road. This is was a 2-lane rural section. Now you can see that it's a 2-lane curb and gutter with roundabouts to improve safety. And when you add in the medians, we're definitely a much safer traveling environment for the public in that area. Dirks Road and Longhorn Road, quite a bit of additional capacity here in areas that are significantly congested. This will help out quite a bit in those areas. Those projects are, I think Dirks Road, we're just finalizing that right now. That's basically complete. This time last year, the Commissioners Court adopted an excess funds policy that reads, realized excess funds in the 2006 Transportation Bond Program will be allocated equally to each court member's discretionary bond fund on September 30th of each year. Excess funds are realized when a project is complete and accepted by the respective community. A reserve fund of $500,000 will be retained for contingency. And I'll just walk you through the slide that shows what we are showing the realized excess funds to be at this time. Since the beginning of the program, we've realized $4.2 million. Last year, at this time, we showed you that we had realized excess funds of $1.4 million. Those are the projects that have been completed. So we subtract that out of the 4.2. And then, of course, we subtract out the $500,000 contingency, and that leaves us with a balance of $2.3 million that will be allocated equally across each court member's discretionary fund budget.
What happened to the 1.461? That's previous realized excess?
That's already been accounted for, and so this is simply showing from last year to this year what the difference is.
It's been accounted for, but has it been distributed?
It has been. Those funds are accounted for in each of your discretionary funds.
Does that number include the 156 project?
The $2.3 million does include that.
Okay. How about anything on North Tarrant Parkway?
That project is not complete, so that would not be included. That's all that I have. I will just point out that over the next couple of weeks, I'll be bringing back to you the renewal agreements for fiscal year 2013, so you'll be seeing those as well. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Lenny, can you update the court on the Stadium Drive situation in Arlington? I'm not sure they've been following it.
Sure. The latest information I have, this is a project that is included in our bond program. It's a widening of Stadium Drive from Division to Abram. This includes a crossing of a UP rail line. The intention is, the original intention of this particular project is, as the road is widened, to make it an underpass so that we would have the rail line that would cross over. The cost of that project has increased significantly, and I believe now we're looking at a cost of probably around $30 million, I believe, or so. And so the city is not in a position to be able to cover the entire difference in cost. The difference in cost having to do with the design plans, requirements that the UP rail line is asking that if the city is going to do an underpass at that location, that there be additional right-of-way for the bridge itself. This has increased the cost of the project. And so at this particular time, the city is working on trying to find a way to close that funding gap in order for that project to move forward.
So we're having to buy additional right-of-way to burrow under the deal.
At this particular point, the city has been in conversation with UP, and the UP has verbally discussed putting in approximately $1.7 million into the project. I don't think they finalized the agreement on that, but that is the intent, so that UP would at least be involved in that much.
So we're not buying anything from UP, we're buying it from other landowners around that intersection.
As far as the bond money is concerned, it would be simply on the widening of Stadium. And so, but the city would have to come up, obviously, with the additional cost related to
How much additional cost are we talking about?
The shortfall from conversations we've had with the city amounts to approximately $6 million, I believe, is what the shortfall was. And I think the city has been in conversation with the Council of Governments to try to find a way to close that gap. I'm not sure they've made a lot of progress in that particular area, but the effort continues. There has been a discussion of the possibility of a different design at that location rather than an underpass, but keep it at grade. But that would reduce the cost. But
I can't see Union Pacific agreeing to another crossing.
And I'm not sure that's exactly really where the city wants to go either at that location. But again, there is a shortfall that they're working on trying to.
In any case, we're not being asked to come up with more money.
Yet.
We are being there.
Nothing that I've seen officially. We've had conversations with staff, and that's been a possibility with regard to that, but I don't know that your office, I'm not sure we've received anything officially on that.
We are being asked unofficially.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how we can come up with the additional fund to help. So as much as I personally, and I'm sure the court, would like to help, but right now, I don't see any additional excess fund that we have that can help compensate for the difference.
It is a big difference, and
it's a huge difference.
I've encouraged the city to, and I know they have been working with COG, but there's only very little on RTR money, for instance, that's available to us on this side of the Metroplex. So we're having a little difficulty in that particular area.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Thank you, Randy.
Sure.
Finally, members of the court, we're going to, on that same item, we're going to have an update from facilities as it relates to the CIP piece of it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The purpose of this briefing is to present to Commissioners Court a building renovation project in the old medical examiner's office building. This renovation will be the final component of the medical examiner's office expansion project included in the 2006 capital improvement program. First, I will provide you with the purpose of the project, then discuss the capital budget, and then present the preliminary drawings for the floor plans, and then request Commissioners Court approval to move forward with the project. There are three main reasons for this project. First is to construct conference rooms on the first floor of the main building. The conference rooms will be in the same secured perimeter as the crime lab and the morgue, which will improve the medical examiner's staff's ability to educate and train law enforcement and other agencies with regard to crime lab and training morgue operations. Currently, the conference room that they use now is off-site in the building next door. Also, the daily mortality staff meetings that they have on a daily basis for the management of the medical examiner's office, we're going to build a room that they all actually can fit into all at the same time. Currently, they're using a small research library for daily conferences. Also, the new conference rooms will allow us to terminate a real property lease with JPS in the office building next door. The second purpose of the renovation is to provide the correct number of doctors' offices. Currently, we have 4 doctors' offices. However, we have 5 doctors and 1 forensic fellowship position that require offices. We are moving the offices from the first floor to the second floor, and we'll provide the exact number of offices they need today and a couple of extra for future growth. The third purpose of the project is to replace the air conditioning, chillers, boilers, and air handling units. The old medical examiner's office building is the highest cost on electricity on a per square foot basis of any of the 70-plus buildings that we own. The new equipment will help lower that cost. Also, the equipment is over 23 years old, and it's a very good time to go ahead and replace it while those floors are vacated. Moving on to the capital budget. The capital budget for this project is $2.8 million, and that includes all professional fees, construction, furniture, fixtures, and equipment. You'll notice the next to last line, there's an owner's contingency. Usually we put a 5% contingency in our projects. This one has a 10% contingency because we're going to be converting old laboratory areas to office, and we certainly expect to see quite a bit of mechanical and electrical infrastructure that we're going to have to be addressed once we start tearing into it. This particular drawing is the first floor as it sits today. The area that we'll be touching is the area on the right, the area that does not have the diagonal lines through it. This is the proposed floor plan for the first level. It has the conference rooms and associated offices and spaces with those rooms. This is the existing second floor, the old crime lab area. We'll be touching the entire floor. And this is the proposed layout. It has the proper number of offices for the doctors, staff, and so on, and it has a couple of more for future growth. The crime lab building that we completed last year cost $24.5 million, which is $2 million less than we projected. So we have $2 million available for this project. And I believe we have $800,000 available in the 2006 Capital Improvement Program interest earnings. With that, I'm requesting Commissioners Court approval for staff to move forward with this project as I have described it today, funded with the $2 million balance in the Medical Examiner's Office Expansion Project bond funds, and to supplement that with $800,000 in interest earnings.
Is that 800,000 in what?
Interest earnings.
Is that 800,000 come from just the facility side of that bond, or is that all of the?
No, it's just facilities.
And we have not programmed that 800,000 anywhere else.
No, so far the only thing we've programmed or allocated is to the civil courts building. And yes, it is available. But it will pretty much, there'll be about $400,000 left after this.
I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Is that it?
That's all we have at this time, Your Honor.
Then we'll recess from our open session and proceed to close to discuss items exempted under 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code.
I like considerations. My wife's not. Matt, you coming around?
Having returned from our closed session, we'll now address the following items.
Under the DA's office, item D1, we're requesting the approval of the resolution. It has to be read on record.
I left them on the table in the judge's office.
Let's go get it.
Well, how about doing the next item while he's going to get it?
That's the second resolution of
There are
the
two
same
resolutions.
thing. It'll be the same deal.
Sorry, guys.
No problem.
What's this on?
This property that we're having the...
Benbrook?
The legislature's added new requirements.
Is there anything else that we can handle?
I wish there was,
That's it?
but I believe those are the two things.
You found them? All right.
Would you like for somebody else to read those in?
No, it's all right. I move that the Tarrant County Commissioners Court authorize the use of the power of eminent domain to acquire a 0.0132 acre tract of land situated in the J.M. Evans Survey, abstract number 466, being a part of Lot 1, Benbrook Highway 377 addition, a part of the property whose address is 8724 Benbrook Boulevard in the city of Benbrook, Tarrant County, Texas, for use in a public project known as the laying out and construction of U.S. Highway 377, from Winscott/Lakeway to Interstate 20 in Benbrook, Texas, and authorize the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office to initiate condemnation proceedings to acquire this property for the public use.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Vote. Motion passes unanimously.
I move that the Tarrant County Commissioners Court authorize the use of the power of eminent domain to acquire a 0.0961 acre tract of land situated in the Hayes-Covington Survey, abstract number 257 of the J.M. Evans Survey, abstract number 466, a part of the property whose address is 8700 Benbrook Boulevard in the city of Benbrook, Tarrant County, Texas, for use in a public project known as the laying out and reconstruction of U.S. Highway 377, from Winscott/Lakeway to Interstate 20 in Benbrook, Texas, and authorize the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office to initiate condemnation proceedings to acquire this property for this public use.
Nope.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. There being no further business.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, the language that's... Commissioner, can I? Commissioner?